I think it was from that point on, I was like, one day I'm going to be one of those guys.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Repo Rod. What's up, man?
Hey, bud, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time to come on my show.
No problem.
So, do you want to introduce yourself to the people? Tell them where you were born and raised.
I was born in Central Jersey, raised in Central Jersey, resided there most of my life.
What was your early childhood like?
My childhood I was raised up in a family-owned construction industry business, sun up to sundown, and I think I was about 12 years old when my pop put me on the first machine, an old excavator digging out a septic bed and trenches, and you went to work at a young age, and
Good old days,
that
right?
pretty much, yeah, they were great days, man. You didn't think they were so great then, but my father's passed away now for a couple of years, and I wish I had those days back to spend a minute more with them.
Yeah. Did you go through high school? How was your
Yeah,
upbringing like that?
went through high school, went to work. I think I was about 16 and had 3 jobs. Worked in a gas station, pumping gas, turning wrenches, towing vehicles, accident calls, did construction, and so forth and so on there.
What was your first experience like with motorcycles? When were you first introduced to it? And what did you want to be when you got older?
Honestly, I was introduced to motorcycles as a real young kid, dirt bike riding. Probably 8 years old, my dad had bought me my first dirt bike. I was just before 16. I bought my first Harley Davidson. I was riding that before I even had a license. I had, I think 88 was my first solo trip out to Sturgis. Rode out, rode back. Had one of those crappy AMF Harley Davidsons. It gave me nothing but trouble all the way out, all the way back. Cost me a fortune. And that was the actual first time that I had encountered any members of the Hells Angels, was that year in 88 when I was out in Sturgis. Came across some of them. They were staying in the same campground where I was. Really good time. They were good guys. Those guys were probably in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that I had encountered that year out there. And I think it was from that point on, I was like, one day I'm going to be one of those guys.
So it gave off like an aura to you.
Oh yeah, there was definite draw to it. My daddy always, if you got in a fight and you came home with a bloody nose, did you hit him back? If you didn't hit him back, Dad put you in the car and took you back over there and told you go on up in that yard and get your shit done. And it didn't matter. You got knocked down, you knocked them down, but you stood up for yourself. You always be a man. Don't ever turn your tail and run for nothing.
Now, was there motorcycle clubs in your area?
Yeah, where I grew up back in that time, I think Breed Motorcycle Club was the heavy presence in where I was. There were Pagans, Henchmen, Jersey Iron, and I think the Bandanas was one of them. And, some other little mom and pop kind of clubs, but the big ones, were Breed and Pagans at that time in the area where I grew up.
So where was your first interaction with them again after the campground? Where were you first integrated with these guys?
Up at they used to have a run up in I think it was Cobesville, New York, if I'm saying it correct. It was Am-Jam every year to Cobesville County Fairgrounds, and I ran into Tom Thinker and a few others up there and told them, hey man, I'm good. I knew a couple of the guys that were there, changed numbers, give me a call, and that's how it started.
But they're not in your area with a big presence, right?
No, Now, the Angels were not a big presence in my area. They were, New York City, New York Nomads. You had Philadelphia starting up. I think at that time, Baltimore was still a prospect charter. New Jersey was still a prospect charter. There was no Hell's Angel club in New Jersey at that time at all.
And you're in lower New Jersey, right? Closer to Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yep. I worked for 20 some years. I worked over in Pennsylvania after I left my father's construction company. So I was always over in the Philadelphia area. And
when did you first know about the Pagans, and what was your thoughts on them?
I knew of the Pagans at a very young age. Nothing for nothing. I don't care for them. I grew up with some of them. I had some of them that lived with me. Their kids went to school with my kids. I just was never drawn to the Pagans or the breed. I didn't like the format. I'm not saying that they're not a stand-up club. They are. They're a hardcore, old school club too. And I'm a guy that just you give that respect that people earn, and they're a true outlaw motorcycle club. I give them that. But I just wasn't interested in that.
You're kind of introduced to these guys up in New York, and so how do you start like hanging around them? Do you just go there and meet them, or?
Next week I went down and Tommy and I hung out, and a couple other people and a couple other guys in Philly, and that was the start.
Now, who's Tommy? Can you tell the people who Tommy was?
Tommy was an ex-pagan who became a Hell's Angel. I'm sure a lot of the viewers will know that, when the leader of the Pagans went to jail, Tommy and I don't know, 70, 80 other pagans left the Pagans. And right or wrong, indifferent, whatever, but they left, and Tommy wanted to be a Hell's Angel. He didn't want to be a pagan anymore. Many of them never made it past the curb, so to say. From what I understand, quite a few of them wound up going back to the Pagans. Tommy became the vice president of Philadelphia. There was a guy, Mangy was the president, but he was up on some federal stuff, so he couldn't come around. But Tommy ran the show. They called him Thinker. He was known as Thinker when he was a pagan. Out of all the guys that were local to me, we'll use the word local within Philadelphia and in the state of Pennsylvania, Tommy was he was the most stand-up Hell's Angel and individual outside of the club that you could ever call a brother. And to this day, I respect him. He lost his life for the club. He was, shot and killed on the expressway by whomever. They never solved his murder. There's speculation out there on what took place. It is what it is.
So how long are you hanging out? So you go there and you start hanging around, right? That's the process. You hang out first.
Yes. Yep. A very short period. Maybe we're going to say maybe 12 weeks, 14 weeks. I was brought into Prospect after that. I only hung around, I think, like 12 or 14 weeks, and I became a prospect with the Hells Angels.
Do you want to walk me through the process of what that day that you went in and said, I want a prospect, or did they ask you?
I asked them a couple of times. There was no set time, and there was a couple of them that told me, you got enough guys behind you that asked to be brought in on the floor at a meeting. And if that's what you want to do, tell them you think you're ready, and they're, suck it up, because they're going to rouse you around in there when you do it. I did. I walked right in there, told them what my intention was, what I wanted to do, and where I wanted to be one day, and got told to go ahead back outside. Okay. And, not, oh yeah, we're going to make you a prospect or whatever. And I'm going to tell you, I think like 3-4 hours went by, and I got called back inside. Thinker actually was the one that walked over to me and gave me my bottom rocker and my MC patch.
So it said Philadelphia.
And prospect tag. Yes.
Did it say Philly? Yeah.
Hmm.
So now, what was it like from that day on?
It was rough, but there was a lot of not being home, a lot of being everywhere, going everywhere. I'm not putting myself up here, but I think I went to twice as many things as some of the members went to. It was good. You get out there and you get to meet people who hopefully are going to be your potential brothers one day and be righteous with you and stand up with you. And, you got, I can't tell you in the time that it took, the amount of guys I saw come and go, prospects, hang arounds, members, the amount of guys that came and go from there, good, bad, or indifferent, that just couldn't do it. It was phenomenal turnover across, any state across the United States, wherever I went. You meet guys, you got them in your phone, and a month later, 2 weeks later, hey, I'm not there anymore, or you get told, hey, you can't contact this one because they're out bad now. They did something, whatever it was.
The ones that are out bad, there's absolutely no
There,
contact.
there is no contact. I don't care if technically if they're your blood relative and they're in the club and they get put out bad, you're not talking to them. You're not going to family dinner with them. Nothing. It's done.
What if they're out good? Have you ever seen people come around that were out good and still be back around the club?
Yeah, there are some guys. I saw a number of guys. They were around for a while. They left. They came around. Not many. Not many. A lot of guys, when they left, they left and walked, and that was it for them.
What were some of the places that you've been around the country that you liked or that you did not like?
When I was doing it, I'm going to tell you, like, I don't think there was a single place I went that I disliked. I can't honestly remember going any place, being in that realm of, either whether it was prospecting or when I was a man, that I didn't enjoy myself, because I was where I wanted to be, and they were, your brothers. I traveled a lot. I think I became best of friends with quite a few of the Illinois Nomad members, where I met Chicago members out there, going Kentucky, down South Carolinas, couple trips out west. There were a few of them, we were cautioned kind of like go in, get out before it gets crazy. That's what it is there, go and rock it out with your family, because that's what your brother is. Your brother becomes your family, or they're supposed to.
So now when you're traveling these other places, what happens if you go through somebody else's territory? Do you have to let them know that you're going through? Like, what's the process?
Another HR, yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to, reach out to somebody and, hey, I'm coming through your area, whatever, and basically it's kind of like a contingency thing. I never rode and did not fly my colors, no matter where I was. When the war was going on with the pagans down in Philly, I flew, I rode. I rode every day with my colors on. It can be helpful, like a certain place I would go, they'd say, hey, brother, man, don't take this route because you're going right past like the outlaw's house or something, take this other route. It's a little bit safer for you, where you might not have a chance on getting clipped as easy. Not like, hey, be scared of going this way. Nah, go that way if you want to go that way, but just to let you know, you're going to be riding right past the Outlaws clubhouse if you go that way. And it's your choice whether you go that way or not. Me, I went that way.
So
I was straight up, I was down in Kentucky for a couple of things, and they were like, brother, don't go down that. You shouldn't be using that highway back there. You're like 40 miles of nothing. And there was nothing. There was literally like a gas station and a couple farms, and there was nothing. If they wanted to get me, they could have got me, if the time was right. I was like, oh, really? Well, I made sure the next 3 days I was there. That's the road I took back and forth.
You never felt like you had a target on your back?
Oh, nah, you know what? I guess you're a little bit crazier then. It didn't bother me. I figured sooner or later, one day it was going to happen. I was going to live it 199% every day. Every day, I was true to that patch, and I'm flying. You want to come for it? Come for it. You're not taking it. You're gonna have to earn it.
So now during your prospecting phase, how long did that last?
Probably about 15 months, I think.
Now during that time, was there any situations that stand out in your mind?
There were a few. I'll put it this: we were out to a USA run, and there was another ex-pagan that was a prospect, and for whatever the reason was, he happened to miss like the prior 2 or 3 runs to be able to become a member. So he wound up. He had like some Texas chopper, which has pretty much, if you know bikes, a standard engine you can get parts anywhere for. And he claimed something happened to his bike, so he couldn't ride out. He got called on the carpet at the run. I think there was, I'm just going to say, I think 5 or 6 Philly members at that run. I think it was an East Coast president and somebody else at that time. They were talking to me, and then they were like, "Hey man, find this dude and send him over to us." I'm walking around, I find the guy, I say, "Hey man, you got to go catch up with them." "Oh man, what the hell?" And I said, "Oh man, just tell them the truth. Don't lie to them. Tell them the truth. And if you got to stand up and put them up, that's what you got to do, but be truthful." I'm pretty sure he lied through his teeth to them, because they came over to me and told me, like, "And take that dude back to the hotel, get his shit, and get him the fuck out. Don't bring him back here to this run again." That's because he lied to him, and man, there was times, I seen dudes get beat down. I seen prospects get beat down, members get beat down for lying, for, numerous different things. If you went in there and you were a man, you were honest, and you held your faith to what you were doing, you really didn't have a problem. You might have to pick them up and defend yourself and hold your honor. If somebody disrespects you, man, you pick your hands up, man, and you just take care of business. You hit the ground, it's supposed to be. You hit the ground, it's done. The other dude stick his hand out, your brother pick you up, and it's over. And it's never to be discussed again, never to be another issue about it. Does it always go that way? No.
Yeah, once they hit the ground, there's supposed to be no feet or anything put on them.
Oh, it's hands. No gloves, no rings, your bare hands. You fight your brother with your bare hands. No kicking him, no stomping him when he's down. Is that always the case? No.
Have you had any altercations while you were prospecting?
Oh, I had a few. I had a member in Philly actually try to, after he had quit, I was having some paint work and stuff done on one of my bikes. Try to give me some shit when I went to pick my paint work up, and I beat him down. He was a piece of shit. He's a guy, when we first talked, I had discussed, he's supposed to be out there working, and he's sitting in the garage, cracking beers. I got to jump back. Tommy was what held Philadelphia together. Pennsylvania would have been one of the, I think at this day and age, one of the largest states that the Hells Angels would have been in. Because there were so many people that did not want to be like, there's Vagos there. I'm not sure. I've been told there's Mongols in Pennsylvania now. I don't know that for a fact. You had Wheels of Soul in Philadelphia, a whole bunch of other ones, Outlaws. But there was such a draw. Before Tommy was killed, you pull down that street for church, and I'm going to tell you what, that street to house, you could not park a car on that entire street. There were so many bikes and so many people out there. There was probably 20 friends, 30, 40 hang-arounds, at least 30 prospects, and I'm going to say at that time, like probably 20, 25 members, just in Philadelphia.
It's pretty big.
Oh, Pennsylvania would have been huge. huge for the Angels. A huge win state for the Angels.
Now, how long were the Outlaws out there for? And did you guys have any issues with them?
The Outlaws in Philadelphia were formerly Warlocks in Philadelphia. Not to be confused with the same ones that are down in like Florida and stuff, but
So the Florida ones and these ones are different.
yeah, they're a different Warlock. Now, the Philadelphia Warlocks, and that doesn't go the same for all of their different charters, but the Philadelphia Warlocks, we had sit downs with them. And, you know, an agreement, man, you know, we'll hang out together. We'll be seen together. We're not going to fight your fight for you. But, you know, they had the pagans pushing on them. We're not going to fight your fight for you, but if we're with you and shit goes down, we're not going to leave you stand alone. We'll stand with you. And there were some old, you know, Warlocks were a tough bunch in Jersey and Pennsylvania. They were some hardcore, really old school good dudes. I'm good friends with a retired New Jersey Warlock. You know, he's probably late 60s. I don't think he's 70 yet, but he was a badass dude. And he still is to this day.
So what was the process when you get your patch? Can you walk me through that day?